team's performance at Division One so far, and where you guys need to go to moving forward?
I think we've had a great start. Obviously, we've played some tough teams, and we've also played some teams that I guess not so tough to say the least. I think our biggest thing is we have to be able to compete a full 60 minutes. Our first season games in St. Louis, or conference games in St. Louis, we dropped both of them, and they were tight games, but I think we competed. But that was kind of the point where we knew where we were at and where we needed to be, especially going into that conference tournament and national tournament again.
And so we're talking to you right now on November 18th. You guys, you don't play till December 6th, and then the semester's over, and it's another long layoff. I mean, how do the girls stay sharp and stay balled in to improve when they don't compete at all for a long time?
Well, I think the biggest thing was with our transition this year to Division One. Our schedule isn't as strong as I'd hoped it would be. All of our road games are against top 6 teams, but most of our home schedule games are against weaker opponents. I think the biggest thing was, especially moving into next year, obviously we're going to try and get more home games. This year, those top teams that we were hoping to play at home already had their schedule set. So hopefully next year we can kind of change that and move forward from there.
And how about the way your team's playing? You've won 7 straight and 4 shutouts, some lopsided scores here and there. So are you getting good play on both ends of the ice?
Yeah, we have a fairly new team, and it kind of took us a little bit to kind of find that chemistry, but I think things are starting to work out here, and we're starting to see some lines and players that work well together. And our biggest issue at the beginning of the year was putting the puck in the net, and I think we're starting to do that more, and that kind of comes with the work ethic and just the right players playing together. So.
Can you talk about some individuals that are standing out so far?
We have a very strong freshman class this year. Jordan Ivanko is a freshman goaltender. She's stood tall for every game she's been in. Alicia O'Hara right now is leading our team in points as a freshman. Another hard worker. And then you jump back to our veteran class. You have Sammy Jo Henry, Mackenzie Balog, Shelby Tornado. I mean, those are all players that have performed well for us and been kind of that solid rock for our team for the last 2-3 years now. And I think adding our freshman class has definitely added to that value and the strength of our program. Every freshman this year so far has performed well or done something really well. Obviously, some show it more on the scoreboard, but at the same time, there's other players that have stood out. Story Navrot, hard worker, great skater, fast. She does the right things. She just hasn't been able to put the puck in the net, but it's still early, so can definitely see that changing here pretty soon. So.
How big was it just to get the confidence from starting 0-4-1 to now being 9-4-1 and winning 9 straight?
It's tough when you start out with that many losses. It's never happened in my history here as a coach. If you look at the teams we played at the beginning of the year, Regina, they're a Canadian U Sport team. They're basically an equivalent of an NCAA Division I team. We competed with them. Colorado, that was a split. Probably shouldn't have been, but it was. And then we went to St. Louis and played Lindenwood, who's Ed McKendry. Lindenwood's the number 2 team in the country right now. And like I said earlier, we competed with them. We just weren't able to pull away with a win. So.
How's kind of the new players matched with the older group?
They're getting along well. Most of our lines, for the most part, are kind of separated. You have a vet on playing with a couple freshmen. Besides our one line with Balog, Henry, and Bergeron. Those two, we put those 2 together about a couple weeks ago, or those 3 together a couple weeks ago, and they've definitely played well together. Obviously we expect a lot from our captains, Henry, Balog, and me. They're kind of doing their role and making sure that the freshmen are comfortable and making sure that everyone's performing how they should perform. So.